Hi everyone, this is Kelly from The Truth in Story, and today I had a Lenormand treat from, it says happy #Lenormand, love R for Ryan, who is the creator of the Maybe Lenormand, which as many of you who follow my channel know, this is one of my favorite Lenormand decks. Now this has more cards in it. I do have a walkthrough of this, which I'll link to in the description box below. It has extra cards that are in the tradition of Kipper, Lenormand. It has all the 36 Lenormand cards, and it has extra cards, but they aren't just cards pulled from nowhere. They're cards that were in use in the Kipper deck around the same time period, as well as the Whitman's Gypsy Witch or Gypsy cards. And another deck which I talk about. I really go through it quite thoroughly in the walkthrough. And so it has extra cards which you can take out when you're just using it to learn. If you just want to learn Lenormand, you can take the extra cards out, which is what I've done here, just for the sake of this particular video. I tend to use these cards all in, and I generally use this with my star spread that I like to do. And so it has, I don't really use it when I do a grand tableau because I don't have the space for it, and I'm used to the houses for Lenormand. And so when I'm doing a grand tableau, I don't tend to use all of the cards in it. But when I am doing anything else, I just use it with all the cards in it because I actually quite like the extra cards. And love the backing. Well, this is the US Games version, which you can get on Amazon and such, and it's fantastic. Highly recommend it. Love the packaging. Rave about it all the time. Well, Ryan, who's the creator of this deck, when he first put this deck out, there were a number of the decks that you could receive in this lovely box, which I believe he made. It's got a gold stamping on it, the Maybe Lenormand. Has the sun card image stamped on the front of it. I don't know if they were all the same or not. And this is just the little Maybe Lenormand kind of logo-y stamp thing with his signature, and it's the 93rd deck. And again, this is a little card that says happy #Lenormand, and this came in the mail today. I knew nothing about it. It was a complete surprise. And I literally cried because it's absolutely stunning. Oh, and I lost track of what I was going to say. But what this is actually hand painted. So this is a hand done Lenormand deck. Like, how amazing is that? He went to, you know, recently they had the, what is that called? The Readers? Oh, I can't remember. It's like a tarot thing in New York, and he had a deck left, and he sent it to me as very much a huge surprise gift. It's the backing. You can see that it's quite a bit smaller, so it's kind of like a mini. It's not as small as some mini. It's a beautiful size. I'm really excited about the size. I know there are comparisons out there side by side. You can't get this deck anymore, so I probably won't do a full comparison. But it's just, I mean, this version is stunning, and I adore it. But you can see, like here, there's a vibrancy, obviously, to the regular paint, or to the real paint, that you're simply not, I think, going to get. One of the things I've learned with working with my deck is that, you know, there isn't anything like the paint itself, because you're getting the reflective quality of light. There's minerals in paint, and you're simply not going to get that. That one has a little bit more orange tones, but it's all hand painted, so every one of these is going to be a little bit different, which is so amazing. So there's a beautiful ship card. Let me see if I can find the ship card. I love this. Look at the woman card. It has a stamp, a moon stamp on it, and it says the Maybe Lenormand. Oh, I love that so much. Oops, I don't want to mix things. fish. Like, look at the drip. You know, it's a drip. You can't fabricate a drip, or you can, but I mean, they're all going to be different, right? Let me see if I can find, what was I even looking for? Oh, the ship card, because you know I love, see, the ship card is and again, this is stunning and I absolutely love it, but you know, of course this is going to be organic because everyone's going to be different. And how absolutely amazing is that? It just was such a surprise today. Okay, now I don't want to mix. Oh wait, these don't matter. Doesn't matter. It was just a complete surprise today, and especially that it said happy hashtag Lenormand. I thought that was really fantastic. So let's see. I'm going to set, so these are the extra cards I'm just going to set aside for right now. And I thought today that we would just do a quick how do I, you know, we've been doing, working through different cards, and I'm going to resume that tomorrow, but because of, in honor of this wonderful, wonderful treat, I thought I would kind of show you how I do a 9 card. There's many different ways to do a 9 card. You can shuffle, and then you can simply lay your cards out, you know, lay out 9 cards on the table, and start to read. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. A lot of people lay them out that way, so that's a way you can do it. You can do the counting method like I showed you in a recent video, where you are literally going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on and so forth all the way through, and do your 9 card out like that. That's definitely a way to do it. But the way that I do it, because I personally like to have proximity involved, and I do like to make use of significator cards. So since today is about the tree card, I've already done my tree pull, but we'll use the tree since today is about the tree. I really like to be able to pick the cards that are closest to that significator card, because those are going to have the most impact compared to cards that are completely someplace away from the significator card. So generally when I'm pulling a 9 card, I'm figuring out what's the best card that relates to the question. In this case, you know, what do we need to know about my health and well-being, and what I need to do, or you know, what does the cards want to tell me about my health and well-being? Now, sometimes people ask me, what do you do if you're doing that and you come out with the card on the end? So I'm going to go ahead and do the reading and see what happens, and then I'll show you what I would do if that particularly happens. So we're just looking, going to look for the tree card. So we're just looking to see, what do I need to know about my health and well-being at the moment. If a jumper card pops out for me, I tend to look at it, especially if I'm doing, this is real watercolor paper, and because I'm just starting to use it, it still has some hairs and things that need to come off of it, so that's why you keep seeing some shedding. But I do pay attention to the jumpers, but I put them back in. So I see the ring and I say to myself, or if it was a client, I would say, okay, apparently I need to be committed to my health, my health and well-being, right? This is something I need to make a commitment to, which is certainly the truth. So I'm going to shuffle, 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 thinking about it, talking about it. And then when I'm all done shuffling, I turn it over and I start to look through the cards to find the tree card, which is right there. So I'm going to take the 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4 cards after the tree, and here's the tree. 1, 2, 3, 4 cards before the tree. Look at that beautiful fish. Ah! And I'm going to use that to create my 9 card. I find my tree and stick it in the middle of the space. These are the cards that we're after, and so I simply lay it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, right in the order, starting, this was right after this one, and I just make my 9 card. I take the cards that were before it, this was right before it, and I just work my way backwards, and there I have my 9 cards. Now, you say to yourself, to me, Kelly, what if the tree was the very last card? Well, then all I would have is the cards after it. Now, I probably wouldn't lay it as a 9 card. I would probably lay it down more in a row like this and say, okay, well, these are the cards that have a message for me. I want to pay attention to those cards, right? Maybe there would only be 2 cards before it. Well, there's never probably going to be that, because you're either going to be at the end or you're going to be at the beginning, right? So maybe there aren't, this was the very last card. Well, then I'm just going to look at these cards leading up to it. And that might tell me something. You know, I need to work on some stuff in the past before I can start to really move forward. If there's no cards in the past and 4 cards after it, I might say to myself, okay, I need to let go of whatever's going on in the past. And right now, I've got some forward motion that I need to do. So let where that lands at tell you what's going on. Perhaps there's just this one missing. Okay, that's fine. Then I'm just going to read it like that. Now, traditionally with Lenormand, there is a history of reshuffle rules. They do that with Lenormand, with a grand tableau. If the person that you're reading for shows up in a weird place, so that you can pick it up and reshuffle, sometimes once. Some I think I've even read up to 3 times. I don't tend to do that. I played around with that a little bit at the beginning because I had read it in some rules. But I find that the message that first goes down is in general the message that I need to hear. I've changed it a long time ago. I used to try to change it. I always had a 1 change rule, and I always found that the original message was what was much more pertinent. And I think that what goes on the table is there to be read, and there's always something for you to be able to work with and to figure out that's the message that needs to come through. So that's how I tend to approach it, is just leave them blank. And again, if it's a weird thing where you really only got the ones after it, you don't have to put it in a 9 card, put it in a line and just read what's there, because that's got something to tell you. So here we have our beautiful 9 card. Let me zoom in a little bit, even though I don't think I have it down perfectly straight, but that's okay. I approach a 9 card the same way that I approach a grand tableau, because I've chosen this card, and within a grand tableau you're looking at a series of 9 cards, right? You're looking for the significator and you're looking at the cards around it. So mastering a 9 card is mastering a grand tableau. A grand tableau isn't any harder than reading a 9 card. You just have a bigger space between what we're going to do right here, and you have more 9 cards within it, but you're still 9 card, 9 card, 9 card, 9 card. You're still looking at these individually. So the first thing that I do in a grand tableau is look at the first 3 cards. That equates to this first upper left-hand card, and here we have a ship. I'm going on a journey with my sense of health and well-being. I need to be committed to that journey because the ring card showed up as a jumper as well as showing up again. So I need to pay attention to that, right? This kind of wandering, perhaps, journey is going to end with a commitment. Now that's just me skipping to that because I was interested to see those 3 cards pop out. But that's not what I would do. So I would look here first and say, okay, my dealing with my health, dealing with my well-being is something that is a journey. It's not ever something that's going to be okay, do this and you're done. It's a continual process. It's a journey. It's a long journey with the ship, right? It's like, okay, well, that makes sense. Then I look to the corners, just like I would do if I was doing a grand tableau. So here we have a journey towards security, right? That's stability and security. Instead of being up and down, sometimes I'm eating good, sometimes eating bad, sometimes I'm exercising, sometimes I'm not. I really need to get this journey more stable, and I really do need to commit to it, because again, we saw this as a jumper, so I now also have it as a jumper, and I have it as a in the cards itself and in the corner cards. So I think that right now, because I have the Tower card here, it's telling me I need to take a step back and get some perspective, kind of regroup and say, all right, how am I going to move forward in a much more consistent and stable manner. So I need to take a step back, get some perspective, get some planning in place. And I can see right away with the letter card. Now the letter card can be about communication. It can be all kinds of things of that. But it can also, for me, it can be, the first thing that came to mind is sitting down and kind of listing out, writing out what it is that I'm going to do. Because when you set pen to paper, when you write that out, you're solidifying your intention. So it's time to write down my intentions, make a list of what I'm going to do, right? And we need to put an end to something. Okay, well, what are we going to put an end to, all right? Well, we have the Moon card. Why would we want to put an end to internal things, right? I need to stop talking about it, thinking about it, internalizing it, digging in there and like, oh, well, this and this and that and this and that. I feel this and I feel that. It's okay, stop, right? It's time to actually do something, because here I am. The Woman card shows up who says you need to be the active force in your own life, right? So it's like, okay, it's time to make some lists, set my intentions, put an end to thinking about it, wallowing about it, swirling around, any of this internal stuff that's stopping me from achieving my goals of being more healthy and having a better sense of well-being. I need to stop with that, and I need to be the active participant in my life, get off my butt and start doing something about it, right? So there we have the cross around here. So we've looked at the corners, we've looked at the cross. Those are the most important ones, because they're touching the card flat on each side. They're touching those cards. Now, I can also go here, okay, so a commitment to my moon rising. So now I don't have to keep this as a negative thing, but here when it was something to end, then I would look to the shadow a little bit, right? But we don't have to stay with that when we go to look at it in a different light. So now I'm looking at the future, and I have a commitment to my moon rising, to going where I should be going. Going in, well-being is not just about physical well-being, but it's about internal well-being, right? It's about the emotional well-being, all those kind of moony kind of stuff. But there's a commitment to sort of an emotional stability moving forward. There's also saying that maybe a commitment to my physical well-being, because a tree can be about physical health, is going to be good for my internal sense of well-being as well. So you can kind of, in a state of stability there, instead of it always being up and down, being the steady course, right? Underneath here, I need to get some perspective. I need to be an active participant in my own life towards, again, a more stable sense of good health, because that's definitely a kick in the butt that this person needs, right? And then I can look above and see, okay, well, it's been a long journey, right? The journey kind of needs to end, is a little bit how I'm kind of seeing this, is that little bit of that sense of, okay, it's time to stop floating along, because you can just do a little bit of read what you see, because what I see is I need to quit floating around along, and I need to make a commitment and get back into gear, because I feel better when I have a consistent, decent, I don't tend to be dieting or anything, but if I'm consistently eating well and exercising well in a consistent fashion, I feel better. So I need to quit kind of floating around here on the ocean, on the water's ocean, and just make a commitment to moving forward. So that's kind of what the message that I'm getting there. So, you know, you can just, yes, can you go and be very rigid about exactly what something means? Sure. Yes, you can. But you can also, what is it, the whole point of a system like Lenormand, which is, and Ryan talks about this, I think in his guidebook, or it's on his webpage, but he talks about how Lenormand is kind of similar to the emojis of our time, right? We see an emoji, we see a green emoji face looking like it's getting ready to puke, and what do we think? Ugh, yuck, right? We have that instant reaction to what does that mean. We see a little smiley face with an angel, a little halo over its head, and we think, oh, sweet, smiling, innocent. I'm innocent. I'm not up to anything, right? So you have all these silly emojis. You've got the fist, your fist bump. Yeah, everything's good. We got the thumbs up. Great job, good job, good job. We've got all these emojis that we see that without words, we're expressing something. These are very similar to that. They're expressing something in what comes to your head, that message, so that when I see this, I see quit floating along and make a commitment. That's not any less relevant than me sitting there and saying, okay, the ship is about long journeys. I'm going on a long journey, and this is going to bring an end to commitment. Well, that to me doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? Reading it exactly that way. There's other ways we can read all different things. How are we going to read this? Are we reading it this way? Are we reading it this way? We can go really in depth and grammatically figure out, and it will have something to say. But we don't have to be so. I think that sometimes we lose the point when we try to too rigidly do our sentence outlining. Now, some people love that, right? Some people love the aspect of exactly, this is a precise language, this is a subject, this is the verb, this is this, you have it exactly lined out how it's going to be, and you read it in this exact order. If this is on this side, it means one thing. If it's on this side, it means another thing. There's all kinds of rules that can be layered on, and those are fascinating to use. They may work really well for you, but don't go so far that you completely shut off the message, right? Because sometimes the message is bam. That is not just with Lenormand, that's also with tarot, that's with Oracle. What is that quick fire message that you're getting? Because more than likely, whatever just came to your mind in a flash, that has something to tell you. If you're tapping into your subconscious and that message instantly popped up, it popped up for a reason. It has something for you to say to you. If you tap into you when you read Lenormand or tarot, or tapping into your spirit guides, and you look at 3 cards and bam, it says something to you, I'd probably pay attention to that, right? So we can't discount. Now, on the flip side of that, I do believe that it needs to make sense within the framework of the cards. So I am not a proponent. I know that there are traditionalists who would have a little bit of a problem with what I just said, right? But I don't believe that you just toss out the meanings and it's just going to say whatever it's going to say. Can it be that way? Sure. But I feel like then you just go get an Oracle deck or something like that, because if you're using Lenormand cards, you're using it within this system. And so there is a neat fact. There's a reason why Lenormand is still around, and it's because it does work. And so I would never take the ship card and have it completely turned on its head and say, oh, this means swiftly pushing across the waves, and it's going to be quickly bringing me a message, right? Well, no, because I want this message, for whatever reason, I want a message to come to me quickly, and I say to myself, okay, I'm going to get a speedy message that's going to be coming. If I just have a little bit of patience, there's a fast message coming to me. Well, that's not going to work. We have a fast messenger called the rider, right? We can't make the ship become that because we want to hear that message. So I do think that your intuitive hits need to still stay within the context of the cards themselves. But don't shut yourself off from messages because you're trying to be so grammatically correct that you lose the flow of actually the message trying to get through is the point I'm trying to get across. So I know that there's a little bit of overlap, because on one hand I say, let your intuition be the guide. Don't discount those quick messages. We really don't have to overcomplicate everything. But at the same time, consistency and understanding the framework and understanding the base is what's going to help you get those quick fire answers, because Lenormand isn't meant to take forever to read. It really is quick. You can lay a grand tableau out and read it really quite quickly, because you're not really meant to sit there and mull over everything. But that comes from creating a groundwork, having the framework of understanding of how things work, having a framework of how the cards work, and then then kind of letting go of the frame. It's kind of one. I know it frustrates people that are trying to learn Lenormand, but there is that, okay, get the base, but then then you have to a little bit let go of the structure so that you can relax yourself enough to just, okay, what does that say? What do those 3 cards say to you? And not over analyzing it so very much. So this has been a little bit of a ramble. Hopefully that this was helpful. I didn't mean to actually go off on a tangent there, but you guys are all used to my rambles. So this is how I structure a 9 card. I lay the cards out the way you saw me do it. I look to the upper left hand to get a general overview. I look to the corners of the cards. I look to the cross around the card. For me, I go in this direction. I know my sheets, I need to do new handouts. There is a way, I think it's like this, something like this. That was like, I think, a technical way to do it. For me personally, this is how I read it. I go from here to here to here to there. Again, as long as you're doing something consistently, that's what's important. So I read those around there. I definitely look here for that future line message. Is there anything in the backing that might be informing what's going on right now, past, present, future? You can see what's going on up above in the mind. There may be some important message up here. What's going on below the surface? Look over here, that kind of thing. You can look at these 2 cards and say, okay, well, I've got this message, right? It's time to really pay attention, to listen to my instincts and go, right? So it's just, you can do all kinds of things with a 9 card, and everything that you're doing with a 9 card is exactly what you'll be doing with a grand tableau. So I can't stress enough working with a 9 card, playing with a 9 card. So I'm going to stop now and hope that something in this ramble was helpful to you on day 5 of #Lenormand. So thank you, Ryan, for this wonderful, wonderful gift, and I will treasure it and I will use it.